Today, I am attempting something that normally takes a crew, experience, and technical knowledge. I have none of these. But I do have a dangerous level of confidence that I can make this work. Concrete countertops are one of those things that most people feel like they can do, but when you get online, people start talking about slump ratio, air entrapment, polymer modifiers. I just want my kitchen to look expensive. In this video, I'm gonna show you a method for forming a concrete countertop that I've actually never done before, but I'm gonna show you how to do it. I'm forming up our 3-foot by 8-foot kitchen island, and I'm going to be pouring it completely alone because I don't have time to wait. I shouldn't say that I don't have any concrete experience. I've done things like walkways and rocks, but everything was an exterior grade project. So this time I have something called the Z Countertop Forms, and it's supposed to make it so much easier. You screw the forms down on top of the cement board, pour the concrete, and then you snap them off once it's cured. It gives you a really clean profile finish, and that's what I'm really excited about. But like any project, there are several tips and tricks in order to get the perfect finish. And since this island is really large and there are 2 spots that are technically overhung by 24 inches, I have a couple ideas of my own that I did to beef up this countertop, making sure that it never goes anywhere, never cracks, and I'm showing you everything that I'm doing to prevent those things. Now, obviously, I could not just pour a regular concrete countertop. No. I needed drama. Something that the concrete guys are probably going to laugh at, but I went to Michael's and I bought rocks at the craft store, and that's what I'm going to use as aggregate. My thought was I wanted to have a little bit of exposed rock coming through. I didn't want it to be extremely polished. I wanted some personality. I did pick some rocks out of the driveway. There's some really cool reds and ambers and copper colors, but I couldn't find any that were like dark and bold enough. The craft store had some. It's craft time. Let's pour a concrete countertop. I have cement board on top of the island, and that's what you attach your forms to. You're supposed to use panhead screws, that way it doesn't sink directly through the PVC, but I bought short ones. I actually feel like those screws, not panhead screws, or longer panhead screws work better. For me anyway, because they're grabbing the plywood underneath. Whatever, it's okay. So I did end up attaching the forms with wood screws, but that was simply because I wanted it to go directly into the plywood that was underneath the cement board. And they're gonna be cemented over top. So nobody better ever buy this house and then try and change the island, because you're not gonna be able to. Oh, and not to mention, sanding the floors was so exhausting that this is terrible. I did not sand underneath the island. I just left it. I didn't even lace those ones in because I knew I was going to be building an island that was going to have a concrete countertop that was going to be so heavy, nobody was going to move it. If you're moving it, it's because you're literally gutting this place again. So don't look there. I really want to use wood screws. I don't want to go to the hardware store again. So I'm just using washers because, oh my gosh, the dog hair. It was coming through here. I want wood screws because it pulls it tight to the plywood. I got all of my forms cut on a 45-degree angle, all of it screwed down, and then I had to tape the corners because the concrete will, in fact, push them out. So you just have to make sure that they are secured from the sides and from underneath. The only way I can tell that it is springtime in rural Nova Scotia is the fact that it smells like. We live in a rural town. Lots of farmers, lots of poop spraying, and the whole house smells like cow. There's a misconception with concrete, and a lot of people think that it's just going to pour out of every crack. It's not. The reason you're doing this is so that the forms come together perfectly at the corners, but also you don't want any little drips. Essentially, concrete's going to stay where you put it, but the water will screed through, and if you have dyed your concrete like I plan to do, you might stain your floors. And I just saw the poop truck go by. I love our farmers. Always slightly panic. I get excited, obviously, but the prep work is almost complete. We're gonna put the wire mesh down and the little feet that hold it up. Well, my heart is racing. Why do I do this when it comes to concrete? Maybe because concrete is like a dry time. If a wood project pisses you off or doesn't work, you can wait 3 weeks until you go back and fix it. You can't do that with concrete. We have the Z clips, and we also have, what is this called? This is the fiberglass mold. So these go inside your form, they stay in your form, and they just hold up the wire mesh. Super cool. You're gonna want it to be set back about an inch or so from the form because you don't want any of these little fiber hairs to stick out. I just remember that I read or that I watched that I should be using gloves for this because it is fiberglass. We're gonna cut another piece for here, and then these are going to hold it up. Completely disregards the gloves. So they will actually hold the concrete up. So the only thing is you're gonna have to make sure that your concrete gets behind it. Like, you don't want your concrete to be too solid, especially for your first few buckets that you're gonna put in because you need it to seep through. And if it gets way down, you're just gonna have to pull it up. Okay guys, I have my Craftstor rocks. I also ordered some concrete dye, iron oxide pigment powder that you can mix in. I don't know if white's gonna do anything, but I have black. I'm not trying to marble the concrete. I'm just trying to give it a slightly different color. It could work, we'll see. I know you're supposed to mix every single batch of concrete the exact same way, but I'm not doing that. I'm going to try to make this countertop as unique as possible without looking tacky. Let's get into it. So I'm not exactly sure if this part's necessary, but this is a lot of concrete space. 13 inches this way, 24 inches this way, that's like overhanging. This is definitely the part that is making me a little bit more nervous. This is just gonna act as another support. It's super sturdy, it's iron. Making sure that it's sitting directly on this part of the lip, which is on the plywood. I want this to also be on the dresser. So here they are. Don't know what they are, but they're metal. They're super sturdy. They were a packaging of some kind, and they're literally the perfect width. So now having the dishwasher in place won't matter. Having a large span, this will give me peace of mind that it will never crack. I really liked this idea, and then I started to worry about the overhang across the front because this is where everyone's going to be eating. So then I went and found this, and I'm just gonna put this in the front, and I'm gonna tie it in this a little bit too overboard. Then one day have this beautiful concrete countertop crack. You guys have to tell me what I'm doing wrong in the comments. Anyway, so that's fine. No, I'm just kidding. I truly do appreciate when it's like real advice. This bar is now being supported by here because of just simply its placement. And then it runs all the way across. And then that one is supported by this. Hopefully I don't trip. This is probably why I said I panic every time I do concrete, because you are literally, I am anyway, doing it by the 5-gallon bucket. And I thought I would need a lot more than I actually did. This whole island top is 30 inches by 90, so essentially 2.5 feet by 8 feet. And it only required 6 bags of the 30-pound mix. But when you're first starting to put it in the bucket, you do start to panic. You wanna make sure that your concrete is almost like a thick milkshake. You don't want too much water or too little water. You want to have enough working time. And again, that's probably why it seems like such a daunting task. But once you find the right consistency, it's pretty easy to gauge it in your mixer or if you're doing it by hand. But definitely invest in either renting, borrowing, or buying your own concrete mixer if you're like me and have this weird obsession with making things out of concrete. So if I had my time back, I probably would have put more Z clips in, and I do this in the other pours. So some of the mesh was weighed down because there was too big of a span in between the clips, but I just reached in and pulled it up. As long as you do that the same way you would with rebar, it's gonna work great. When the concrete started to not seep in between the holes of the mesh, I realized two things. My first batch of concrete was a little bit too thick, and I should have put more Z clips in. So my second batch was a lot more of the consistency that you're gonna try and get. Again, it's like a thick milkshake. And now you just need to be able to work it into all areas. Make sure that it goes under all of the mesh. Make sure that it goes into all of the corners. Use the edge of your trowel and essentially stab it along the sides so that it completely fills up and there are no large air bubbles. We will get to that after. This part is satisfying once you have all the concrete in. I think initially just mixing the concrete up is what's really scary. For me anyway. You might be a pro, or that might not be the part that makes you nervous. If you have any questions so far, let me know below. So I didn't actually show me mixing the dye into the concrete, but this is the one that has the white. So it did substantially lighten the concrete. Now I don't know if that's actually going to show up when it dries, or if that was a step that shouldn't have happened. We're gonna see. We're learning. We're learning. I do really like how it sort of marbled in to the darker gray though. And now you're gonna screed it. Screed it. Screed. Anyway, you're gonna take a very flat piece of either timber, a level, or metal and go across the form, sort of shake it across until the top becomes pretty smooth, like relatively smooth. And then you're gonna allow that to dry. Well, I shouldn't say dry. You're going to allow it to get to almost a matte consistency. In the beginning, you're gonna see water on top and it's almost just gonna look like it's all wet. I forget the name of that, but I'm sure somebody's gonna tell me below what it is. And that's when you want to stop. But again, because I'm so extra, this is where my craft store rocks come into play. So excited here. I took them and essentially just sprinkled them all across the top. I am gonna push them in again, so I'm going to screed or screet, whatever that word is, them into it. Watch, they're gonna disappear. Voila, it's like magic. I have ordered diamond sanding bits though, 50 grit all the way up to 6,000. I'm not sure if I'm gonna need them to 6,000, but they will expose these rocks later on once the whole thing is dry. Now you can either use a sander or I used my multi-tool. You can tap it with a hammer, but you need to slightly vibrate the edges and allow the bubbles to come up. You do not want to have bubbles trapped. I actually circled my concrete countertop probably 10 different times until I stopped seeing any amount of bubbles come to the surface. And this really paid off later. I'll show you why. I just went and showered because I was disgusting. It is 35 degrees here in May, which never happens. And of course, this was the day that I picked to pour the concrete countertop. So it's now looking like I can use the magnesium float on it. From YouTube and my research, you're not supposed to use that until the appearance of water is gone from the top and it looks dull. So we're almost there. The magnesium float that I used brought it from, this is a nice concrete countertop, to, okay, this is so good. Do you see the difference in the texture change when I ran that over it? Just don't do it until the water on the surface is gone, and that's your last step. Now you can leave it. So I'm actually going to be prepping for the sink unit, which is a little bit trickier, and I've decided to wait for this one and pour the island first. That way I wouldn't be as nervous. I would have a little bit more experience with the countertop forms before I hopped into forming for a sink. It has been 5 days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 6 days. I have to knock the forms out. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We'll just pop them off. Why am I so nervous? Oh my gosh, okay, it's so much easier than I thought. There's just like a weak spot in the... I do feel like it's still wet. Is that wild? Okay, it turned out honestly better than I expected. It's very dull right now because I haven't polished it. I haven't exposed the aggregate or any of the colors, but 11 out of 10. These forms make it so much easier. I love it. I love it all. It's so smooth. Oh my goodness. I am so excited. So now I have to wrap everything because I'm going to get ready to polish it to a 6,000 diamond grit, which is again something I have never done before, but we're figuring it out. I am going to stop the video right here though because I'm trying to put one video out weekly to stay consistent and give you guys constant content. So please subscribe, like, comment, ask all of the questions, and within 1 week, I will have this video. If you're watching it after this, I probably already linked it right here. If not, this is something just as cool.